here's the truth. This is the reality, okay? Nobody's going to believe in you until you've already done it. Nobody's going to come and celebrate with you until you've already done it, all right? The work is going to come before the belief, which means you're going to have to work for a long time by yourself with no applause, with no awards, with nobody telling you good job. No one's going to believe in you in the beginning, nor should they. Be okay with that.
I think of myself as the greatest person that I can be. That's it. I'm not going to go out on out on a limb and say I'm the greatest this or that. I was a kid with a dream. That's it. And the people before me set the bar so high, and I was a little kid that wasn't afraid to dream as big as I could. And that's really it. Like you said, like we were talking before, I was dedicated, I was hardworking, and that put me in the shoes where I am now.
If the lion is the king of the jungle, how can he be the king of the jungle? If he's not the biggest, the elephant is probably one of the biggest. He can't be the fastest because that's a cheetah. He can't be the smartest. So he's not the biggest, the fastest, or the smartest. So how does a lion become the king of the jungle? His mentality. That's the only difference of a lion and an elephant.
I think of myself as the greatest person that I can be. That's it. I'm not going to go out on out on a limb and say I'm the greatest this or that. I was a kid with a dream. That's it. And the people before me set the bar so high, and I was a little kid that wasn't afraid to dream as big as I could. And that's really it. Like you said, like we were talking before, I was dedicated, I was hardworking, and that put me in the shoes where I am now.
You have to have this knowing that, okay, it may not work today, it may not work tomorrow, but this is the right thing, and this is what I'm doing, and this is what's feeding me. So that would be the best advice that I can give you. That knowing, just believe in what you're doing, and if you don't believe in it, then you're not doing it. You haven't figured out the thing that you do best yet. When you feel it and when you know, no one can tell you. You only have to be right once.
Life is one big psychological warfare that you play on yourself. You play on yourself, man. The most important conversation I ever had is with myself. And the shit I was telling myself was so tough, it was so wrong, it was so misguided, and it started to be what you say to yourself every single day. So I started flipping this into a whole different, I started being a master of what I was scared of. I was scared of my mind. And I became literally a master of that mind. And that's what from now on, it sets me apart from most people.
And that's what the great ones do. They marshal and harness their resources, their mental focus, their physical energy, their personal willpower, their individual gifts, their time, and they focus them on just a few things. And I want you to think about it in your life. If you stripped away all the noise, you focused on the signal, you stripped away all the complexity, you got monomaniacally concentrated on just a few things, of course you'd be brilliant at those few things.
Work like hell and advertise. You get it? Work like hell, go to bed, and early to rise, work like hell and advertise. So you work your ass off, and then you let the world know about your work. That's what it is all about. Let people know if you have a company, if you have a movie, if you do sports. Work your ass off, but then advertise and let everyone know.
It's always a little bit frustrating to me when people have a negative relationship with failure. Failure is a massive part of being able to be successful. You have to get comfortable with failure. You have to actually seek failure. Failure is where all of the lessons are. When you go to the gym and you work out, you're actually seeking failure. You want to take your muscles to the point where you get to failure, because that's where the adaptation is. That's where growth is. Successful people fail a lot. They fail a whole lot more than they succeed, but they extract the lessons from the failure, and they use that, the energy, and they use the wisdom to come around to the next phase of success.
I meditate every day. If I don't do it, I feel like I'm constantly chasing the day, as opposed to being able to be controlled and dictate the day. Not that you're, calling the shots on what comes forward, but the fact that I am set and ready for whatever may come my way. I have a calmness about whatever comes my way and a poise. And that comes from starting the morning off with meditation. For me, it's really just listening to my inner self. I mean, that's basically it. Like you sit in silence and you just allow these thoughts to come forward, and you get a chance to observe the self.
Do you have any regrets?
No, don't have time to regret. We move on, because we are acceptable for what we are, not what we think we should be. I'm accepted in myself by what I am, but not as I think I should be, because that's a lie. I'm a sinner, I'm an old sinner. I've done some bad things, I've done some good things. So, you just forgive yourself and move on.
There's no cut in the corner. There's no magic bullet. There's no cheat sheet. It's really simple, as complex as it may sound. Hard work. Work hard. Believe in yourself. They tell me all the time, Chico, that's another name that I got, by the way. They say, Chico, you're so lucky, Chico. I say, man, you know what's funny? Harder I work, luckier I get. It's really that simple. Short steps, long vision.
We are told that if we're beautiful, if we're skinny, if we're successful, famous, if we fit in, if everyone loves us, that we'll be happy. But that's not entirely true. But the most important journey I think all of us will go through is the journey in ourselves, to find our truth, to find who we are and what makes us happy.
Your body's a lot stronger than your brain sometimes. And you gotta catch your brain up. Your muscles will be ready to keep going. Your brain will have its limit. You know what I'm saying? And be like, I can't do no more. And then your body will follow suit. But when you can break the mental barriers, you'll notice, damn, I can do way more. I was crazy. You know what I'm saying? I had way more in me. So I think that's an example of like feeling like you can't, like you exhausted, or you about to, you overwhelmed, and then being clear that, this is just how I feel to be pushing yourself more than you ever have, demanding more. That's just the natural way it feels. When you press your line and press yourself to produce more and to be better, you know what I'm saying?
All I have to say is that this is hard work. I've worked hard for a long time, and it's not about, it's not about winning, but what it's about is not giving up. If you have a dream, fight for it. There's a discipline for passion, and it's not about how many times you get rejected but you fall down or you're beaten up. It's about how many times you stand up and are brave and you keep on going. Thank you.
When you're grateful, you can't be worried. You can't be fearful. When you're grateful, you can't be angry. And anger and fear are what screw people up most in their relationships, in their life, in their business. So I wire myself. I was saying to you that most people want to be happy, but their habit is to be worried or pissed off or frustrated or stressed. And so they've got a highway to stress and they got a dirt road to happiness. So I wire myself. I've got a highway to gratitude, which changes all your emotions.
I had to learn drive. If you don't have drive, then you quit cultivating your talent. Because once you rest and once you say it's over, I've gotten to the mountaintop, then your talent starts to dwindle. That hustle, what I call hustle, is very important, because at some point you're going to be able to pull the hustle back just a little bit, and then you pick your spots. The time right now is a hustle to set things up so that in the future you're able to cut back just a little bit and just pick your spots.
Look, you have to stop looking at what you don't have and what's not happening for you, and start appreciating like what you do actually have. Like, my man, you got on a nice watch, like your hat is fresh, like there's a lot of things, your family, there's a lot of things to be grateful for, and that's the only way you can climb out of like a place of focusing on what you don't have, is by focusing on like, man, what do I have to be thankful for? And everybody got something to be thankful for. Even a homeless man, if he wanted to, he could be like, yo, I'm breathing today, like, you know what I mean? Like, my arms work, my legs work. You can start very small, and it's a process, but that's how you can get up out like of a negative space like that.
I think one of my greatest inspirations or things that I would feed off of basically was just obviously people not believing in the cloud of doubt that kind of I felt hung over my head, and wanted to just prove everybody wrong. I wanted to make it, and I was going to make it regardless of what anybody said.
Comparison is a formula for misery. And what we do in our life is we compare ourselves to the best day and the best picture on social media that we see of somebody else. We compare ourselves at different times in our lives too. You know, even if you're in a relationship, comparing your relationship in its 5th year to its 5th week isn't fair to that relationship. There's different stages in our life. So comparison is a pathway. There's pathways to happiness, and there's pathways that lead us to unhappiness. One of those for sure is comparison, and it's an ego thing oftentimes with us. We're always trying to one-up things in our life. It's a matter, I think, really of being more present in the moment in your life and saying, I deserve to be happy right now.